Quebec's immigration freeze sparks crisis in tech and healthcare sectors. Quebec's abrupt suspension of two vital immigration pilot programs, the AI, IT and visual effects pilot and the orderlies pilot, has sent shockwaves through the province's tech and healthcare industries. Announced without warning on April 22, 2025, the freeze has left thousands of skilled foreign workers and employers in limbo. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. On April 22, 2025, the Ministry of Immigration, Francization and Integration announced the immediate suspension of applications for two critical permanent immigration pilot programs, the AI, IT and visual effects pilot and the orderlies pilot for healthcare workers. In a surprise move that has left both industries and individuals reeling, Quebec's Ministry of Immigration, Francization and Integration announced it is pausing two crucial immigration pilot programs. This video, central to the province's tech and healthcare talent strategies, are suspended without prior notice and will remain inactive until June 30, 2025. Government's justification: overwhelming demand cited as reason. The government justified the move by citing overwhelming application volumes and a pressing need to manage processing more effectively. The pause, scheduled to last until June 30, 2025, came without any prior notice, leaving thousands of applicants and employers completely blindsided. MiFi claims the unexpected freeze is necessary due to application volumes exceeding their capacity to process. While this may reflect Quebec's popularity as a destination for skilled immigrants, the timing and lack of communication sparked criticism across affected sectors. Major economic implications of the freeze. This sudden shift not only upended individual lives, but also disrupted sectors heavily reliant on international talent. It raised immediate concerns about Quebec's ability to meet its labor market needs and maintain its competitiveness in industries critical to the province's economic future. Disruption is already being felt. Quebec's tech and healthcare industries, both facing chronic labor shortages, are the hardest hit. The decision calls into question the province's ability to remain a competitive hub for global talent. AI, tech, and visual effects sector at risk. Impact on vital: these immigration programs were specifically designed to tackle acute labor shortages, including in Quebec's technology and healthcare industries. Without a steady pipeline of new skilled workers, both sectors are now at risk. Montreal has steadily built a reputation as a global hub for artificial intelligence and advanced technology. Montreal has become a magnet for artificial intelligence innovation. Global companies and startups rely on the AI, IT, and visual effects pilot to access elite professionals. Suspending it undermines years of economic progress. Consequences for Quebec's competitive edge. The AI, IT and visual effects pilot was essential in helping firms attract the world-class talent needed to fuel innovation and economic development. With the suspension of this program, Quebec risks falling behind other major tech centers in Canada and internationally. Tech companies, especially startups and research-intensive firms, depend on fresh expertise to remain competitive. Tech startups, already operating on tight margins, now face greater difficulty accessing the skilled workers they need. As a result, Quebec may lose business to Ontario, British Columbia, or even U.S. hubs offering more welcoming immigration pathways. Health system setback: the orderlies pilot suspension. Without access to new talent, projects may stall, expansion plans could shrink and overall industry momentum could slow significantly. The healthcare sector faces equally serious consequences. The orderlies pilot was created to bring in workers for long-term care facilities, hospitals and other healthcare settings desperately short-staffed after the strain of the COVID-19 pandemic. Suspending this stream intensifies the already critical shortage of frontline workers. Healthcare administrators are warning of deepening shortages. The orderlies pilot helped fill roles left vacant in long-term care and hospital facilities. Without it, Quebec's aging population will suffer the consequences. Mounting strain on healthcare workers. Fewer orderlies mean more pressure on existing healthcare staff, longer wait times for patients, and a potential decline in the quality of care provided to Quebec's aging population. Doctors, nurses, and support staff are already overstretched. With the pipeline of international healthcare workers suddenly cut, burnout and turnover may rise sharply. Applicants and employers caught in a crisis. Applicants and employers in limbo. For many individual applicants, the sudden program freeze has created a nightmare scenario. Skilled professionals who carefully tailored their career paths to fit program criteria now face indefinite delays. For professionals hoping to immigrate under these streams, the sudden policy change is devastating. Many have invested time, money, and life decisions around these now frozen programs. Business disruption across sectors. Financial investments, emotional sacrifices and professional aspirations have been thrown into uncertainty. With little to no guidance from the provincial government, employers are facing a different but equally disruptive reality. Employers in industries ranging from tech to construction are scrambling. With no certainty on when or how talent will arrive, workforce planning is in disarray. Broader economic fallout. Workforce planning has been thrown into disarray. In an economy where finding specialized workers was already challenging. This move could severely compromise businesses' ability to meet project deadlines, expand services, or maintain quality standards. Project delays, missed deadlines, and higher costs are already emerging. If the freeze persists or becomes a recurring trend, some businesses may look to relocate operations outside Quebec altogether. Political motivations behind the freeze. Political motivations behind the Freeze Quebec's decision did not occur in a vacuum. The Coalition Avenir Quebec government, led by Premier François Legault, has consistently prioritized protecting and promoting French language and culture through its immigration policies. Increasing provincial control over immigration has been central to this agenda. This freeze is part of a broader political narrative. Premier François Legault's Coalition Avenir Quebec government has long prioritized preserving Quebec's French-speaking identity even if that means curbing immigration growth. Language requirements and policy debate. The suspension reflects a broader political strategy that emphasizes managing immigration levels tightly and ensuring that new arrivals are more likely to integrate linguistically and culturally. While the intention to protect French is legitimate, critics argue that Quebec's approach increasingly shuts out global talent. Stricter French proficiency rules could eliminate otherwise ideal candidates. Risk of losing global talent. Language requirements have always been a point of contention. While the goal of linguistic integration is understandable, critics warn that strict French proficiency standards might exclude highly qualified candidates who would otherwise contribute significantly to the province's economy. Foreign nurses recruitment program in Quebec plagued by major flaws, internal report reveals. Foreign nurses recruited to Quebec through a provincial government program faced major obstacles upon their arrival, including a lack of housing, childcare, and transportation, according to an internal report. A rigorous training schedule, culture shock and fear of failure caused severe stress among the recruits, says the report produced by the province's immigration department. It suggests they were not properly informed about the demands of the program or the reality of life in Quebec. The $65 million initiative, announced in 2022, aims to bring 1,500 foreign nurses to Quebec by 2028 to work in regions of the province with acute nursing shortages. Candidates receive training at junior colleges, funded by the government, and are paid $500 a week. But the November 2024 report on the first phase of the program, obtained through Quebec's Access to Information Law, paints an image of a poorly organized project that failed to prepare foreign nurses for what to expect when they uprooted their lives to come to Canada. Early in the launch of Phase 1, major obstacles were encountered in getting participants settled, the report says. In most regions, project participants had to deal with issues that complicated their integration, and which may have had a negative impact on their full participation. One nurse who spoke to the Canadian press about the program said he didn't know what he was getting into before leaving his home country in Africa in June 2023. He spoke on condition of anonymity for fear of repercussions. He said the Quebec government described the program as refresher training, and he didn't expect the heavy, months-long course load designed to bring foreign nurses' experience in line with Quebec standards. He had received his nursing diploma from his home country in 2019. "We were treated like children," he said. "The right information wasn't given to us." The internal report cites several problems getting the nurses settled into various regions of Quebec, often far from the province's urban centers. Finding affordable housing was a challenge, especially for those arriving with up to 5 children in tow. A lack of credit history put them at a further disadvantage, the report says. In the Gaspé region, modular units were eventually built to house some foreign nurses. A lack of daycare spots forced the spouses of some recruits to stay home to care for the children. Moreover, many of the regions don't have extensive public transit, meaning the nurses had to obtain Quebec driver's licenses and buy cars, an unexpected expense for some. These issues highlighted the importance of presenting an honest picture of the costs and challenges associated with living in Quebec, the report says, noting that many participants found themselves in a financially precarious situation. The government ended up spending about $16 million on the first phase of the program, or about $77,000 for each of the 207 nurses recruited. For the life of me, I don't understand why these issues were not properly considered when this program was developed, said Fo Nimi, executive director of the Center for Research Action on Race Relations, a Montreal-based civil rights organization. Nurses struggle to find jobs after training, says Nimi. The review also noted difficulties with the training program itself, which lasts around 9 to 14 months, pointing out that the labor shortage in the healthcare system made it hard to find teachers and internship supervisors. It also found that students experienced intense stress around the prospect of failure. If recruits fail one course, they're expelled from the program and lose access to financial support, including the part-time work as orderlies that is included in the program. In theory, they can re-enroll, but while they wait for the courses to be offered again, they're not allowed to work a situation that can last for months. The nurse who spoke to the Canadian press failed an internship component of the program in June 2024. He was able to re-enroll in January, but in the interim, he had to borrow money from friends to pay rent and buy groceries. He said the consequences of failure had not been made clear before his arrival. If he'd known how the program worked before coming to Canada, he said, he wouldn't have left home. I'm not happy, he said. In my home country, at least there was family, there were my brothers and sisters. But that's not the case here. I have no money to send or do anything because the money I have is for groceries. Nimi said some nurses struggle to find jobs even after they complete their training. He said he heard from a recruit in one region that people don't want to be served by black nurses. In response to the Access to Information request, the government also released reports from each of the junior colleges that participated in the first phase of the program. The documents detail a litany of challenges, including a heavy workload and an intensive training schedule that many recruits found overwhelming. The colleges observed that many of the foreign nurses experienced culture shock, and some had trouble adapting to the vocabulary and accent of French spoken in Quebec. One college noted that discussions around abortion and medical assistance in dying created emotional and ethical tensions for some students. The recruits for the first phase of the program came from Algeria, Cameroon, Morocco, Tunisia, and Mauritius. The fast-paced academic environment and the far-reaching consequences of failure put a lot of stress on the students, the government report says. Despite the challenges, most foreign nurses do make it through the training program. Xavier Daf-Bordelou, a spokesperson for the Immigration Department, said that as of the end of February, 867 people had successfully completed the refresher training, including more than 90% of students in the first two phases. The fifth phase of the program is currently underway, and the government hopes to meet its target of recruiting 1,500 nurses by 2028. The spokesperson also said that most students in subsequent phases received an offer of housing before arriving in Canada. Building on the experience gained in previous cohorts, our efforts to accompany people from abroad for several months prior to their arrival have helped to minimize the pitfalls associated with settling in, Daf-Bordelou said in an email statement. The Office of Immigration Minister Jean-François Roberge did not respond to requests from the Canadian press for comment. Quebec's sudden immigration freeze and flawed foreign nurse recruitment program are straining key industries. Without swift policy adjustments, the province risks deepening labor shortages and losing its edge in healthcare and tech. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next video. Till then, take care.